Welcome back to IPC radio station 123. Today our hosts Piotr and Theo.
Yep.
Welcome. We will be introducing two songs to you, one each, and then talk a bit about these songs, what the background of the song is, what these songs mean to us, what feeling they're conveying. Yeah. Welcome, Piotr.
Yeah, welcome. Well, thanks for having me. Or thanks for us both doing the show. But which song should we start?
It's a good question. We're kind of winging this here in the improvised radio station. Why don't we start with your song?
My song is called Paradox by Rafa. No, I fucked it up.
I was saying, wasn't it the other way around?
Yeah, it's Rafa.
kind of Paradox.
It's Rafa by Paradox, and Paradox is an old school gabber artist.
Mhm.
And for the people that don't know, gabber is like a subgenre of hardcore / techno,
Yeah.
but it was kind of before that, so it's very intertwined.
Mhm.
But it's like the same difference between techno and hardcore, just like the same vibe of beat, but it's not like the one has more bass or the one has more staticky
Yeah.
feel or whatever.
And isn't it like more from the Netherlands?
It is
region.
Well, the gabber, like gabber as we call it,
Okay.
is
Gabber.
gabber.
I'm not sure if I pronounced that right.
It's completely that's the only genre that the Netherlands made.
Okay.
So
Really.
that's the only one, and it's also the most looked down upon / well criticized, because in the early 90s all the parties were with bald people, earrings, and they took a lot of drugs like ecstasy and coke. So they'd have like big ass pupils with bald heads, and they would look scary. And then in the morning, when the rave is gone, or the rave is done, then you would see like old women going to the grocery market, and then you see one of those guys, probably still on ecstasy, go just into a shop to buy something, and you'd be like, oh, scary guy.
Oh.
But now it's changed a lot. It's changed a lot, but like you don't have that many. Well, yeah, it's not that popular anymore to be a gabber or to be a gabber with bald head. But it's, yeah, that was mainly in the early 90s, but now the music has gone like a resurgence. And there was a bit of a hiatus like for 2010s, and now it's like the highest it's been ever. So that's why you see like big events with Tomorrowland, and like gabber is slowly climbing the ranks, so it's slowly coming to that level of like we can sell out an event almost like a full 100,000 event.
Well,
We're close to that.
Yeah.
So.
and wasn't there like at this time Thunderdome? That was
Yeah,
really
there was
popular?
Thunderdome, a couple hardstyle events. That big of a fan of, but there's also some gabber DJs. But I like most like the rave nights, the one solid night and some DJs. But actually, this weekend I went to a rave party.
Okay.
So I was this weekend to one of also those old Dutch DJs.
Here in
Performed-
Denmark?
He performed in Copenhagen. So that was really cool.
Okay.
But unfortunately, the scene isn't as big anywhere else apart from the Netherlands. So there were like 250 people, but it was still good.
Yeah.
It wasn't as I had way higher intentions for what it was.
How many people would there be at a Dutch rave usually?
Oh, it depends on the size of the venue, but like the last one I've been to just before I left to go to IPC was there usually are more rooms, 2 or 3, and like the big room was 400 and the small room was 200,
Wow.
and so but it like they were almost next to each other. So and the main art was at like 5, and the event started
Wow.
from 12 to 7 in the morning, and that's like common.
Yeah, and that's like not in a club; it's a privately organized rave.
It's mostly the venues are you can still do them in a club, but usually if it's like Thunderdome, Ground Zero, one of those events,
Okay.
it's like almost like a mini festival crammed into like 1 or 2 days.
Yeah.
And then it's just like festival.
And
Festival
then you
size.
also pay for that.
Yeah, usually you pay like for like the higher events for a day you pay usually like 60 up until like 100. No,
Okay.
maybe 60 around that.
Yeah.
But it's usually worth it.
Yeah, and then it's also not just the music; it's a whole experience. And
No, it is really based around the music. Like
Okay.
there are some stands with where they sell merch from the event because it's very sought after, like to have each year's event or each year's
Yeah.
T-shirt or whatever.
Yeah.
But it isn't the same size. You haven't like the Thunderdome parties. Those are legendary in the Netherlands, and like yeah, we haven't had those in like maybe a year or two because of COVID, but now it's getting back to that level. And
Okay.
I miss so much stuff when I was I was so ready to go to like 4 events
Yeah.
or 4 festivals, and then I went to IPC and I was like, oh, come on. And then I looked here around. I was like, there's nothing.
No.
There's no hardcore events. There's no techno events. There's like there's like the music here is not just like electronic music isn't on the same par as Germany and the
Yeah.
Netherlands and Italy. It's not the same. Danish people need to grow into it.
Yeah, I feel
It's-
like it's in Denmark the party culture is very different. Maybe also with that all hygge, people like more of a cozier party or privately organized something rather than in Berlin. Like speaking from my own origin now, you can't a lot of times, especially when you're growing up, you don't have a own house to organize a party
of
or
course
something. So you just like go somewhere where there's a space to dance.
Exactly.
And, yeah.
Exactly. Oh, that brings you to a good point. In the Netherlands, we do like, we have a lot of house parties, of course. We also do raves, but usually, there's a thing called, or like in big abandoned buildings, and just people organize like illegal raves.
Yeah.
They're not always Gabber related, but usually the harder events are tunnel raves. And we just find some random tunnel somewhere in the mostly eastern part where I live of the Netherlands. It's very easy to do. And then they just set up there, and then there's like a couple hundred people there, and it echoes in the tunnel. So if you don't wear any plugs, you can hear the echo, like it's like
just total bass.
You can hear the bass, and then you can hear like a slap sound behind it because it like it like reverberates. Yeah. So that's cool.
Yeah. One thing about the bald guys.
Yeah.
Because when you see these scary bald people in the morning, you might associate that with a bit right wing style.
Yeah.
Is that in any way related to that, or is it more like a rebel thing to cut off your hair?
It was mainly a rebel thing at the beginning because even the police like put sanctions on like young people in the 90s. Just
sanctions.
They put like I don't know. It's very hard for me to explain it in Dutch because I don't have the correct word to do it. But it's not sanctions, but it's put like strict rules on when they saw people after the parties. So that they wouldn't quote unquote terrorize the people just in a normal life.
Okay. Yeah.
Because if you go after a party, after a rave or whatever, and you go to a shop and you have a bald haircut, then
Hmm.
It wasn't frowned upon, but it was like everybody would look at you like,
Yeah.
what the fuck is this guy? Why is he bald? Why does he look so scared? Why does he have massive pupils?
What is he doing in the
What is he-
supermarket? Yeah.
What is he doing at 7 in the morning? It was mainly rebels, because at the beginning, everybody was an outsider, and like in the Gabber community, like at the beginning and like maybe like a couple years after, like until 93, 94 maybe, most people knew each other every weekend, or like every couple weekends in the year, they just knew each other. So it was a very tight knit community, and then it just exploded.
Yeah.
But like from especially from this song Rafa, like in our, I say our because I'm basically a Gabber, but how you say it is, they make use of breakbeats in between the big drops. They put like a certain beat
Okay.
that you may have noticed in Rafa, and they play with loops in the beat, and play with like, you may hear the beat go around your head like surround sound, or from different angles.
Yeah.
And so they like fade it into the big drop.
Yeah.
And when it's finally into the drop, they just release all like the build up tension, but the tension still stays.
All right. I hope everyone is energized, awake now.
Hopefully.
The second song, don't have your expectations too high for a dance song. It's a bit of a slower song. It's Did You Really Know by Mango's Hi-Fi featuring Zoom T. It's Mango's Hi-Fi, an odd name for an artist. It's basically a sound system that two DJs built. They made like they're like reggae DJs. They make like dubs. And to create this, they wanted a really good sound system. So they basically, in Glasgow, they built a huge sound system just for the DIY meters of reggae to experiment and record songs. And then they produced this album, Sound System Champions, where they feature different artists, and one of them is Soomti. She's a Scottish singer of Indian origin, and she usually sings about injustices and daily struggles, although this song is a bit more different. I think I will just leave you with that and let you listen to the song now, and then we can talk about it more after that.
Well, this intrigued me a lot at first, because I played the first 30 seconds. I was like, what am I listening to? So that confused me. That confused me at first, but then I got very surprised when you said reggae beat, because what I wrote down was slight reggae beat slash drum and bass slow.
Slow drum and bass. I mean, yeah. I now that you say that, I can actually hear that. I didn't think about it, but I guess it's also both a bit Jamaican-inspired styles.
Yeah, I heard the reggae beat, and then I was like, because in my head it was just like drum and bass, but it was like slowed down like twice as much.
Yeah.
So
it's a very slow song. Yeah. Yeah.
Almost there. And also it keeps bugging me, but it sounds like a tennis ball being hit in the back of the song. It sounds like when you're just hitting a racket, indoor hall, whatever, and you just it just makes a sound, and then the echo after. So it's just, the song is always playing with ups and downs, and so boom, like the whole time is that, and that sounds like tennis ball to me. And then you just add stuff.
Yeah, maybe that's actually the origin of that sound. They are very experimental DJs that produced it, and every sound has some kind of origin.
It really is. If it's not that, I'm surprised, but it sounds like it.
That's cool. I didn't even hear that. Maybe my headphones aren't good enough that I used right now. But yeah, it's this is a song with the lyrics actually. So I was thinking this is also a song about uncertainty, how life always goes different what you thought. This is kind of the feeling that I have with this song. It's of course also a song about a love affair. That's the main topic of the song.
Yeah.
But then with lyrics with did you really know what I thought of you? And one day there will be me and there won't be you. It's for me conveying a bit of the uncertainty of life and how in the end everything always goes different from what you thought.
I was very confused about the lyrics, because I also heard that and I was like, is it a love song or is she just confused? And then I started hearing the tennis ball again, and I was just like, well, I thought that the beat was more interesting than what she was saying, but if I would have actually listened, I would have seen that the lyrics are pretty interesting, as you said.
Mm-hmm. Do you really know what you will end up with when you come into situations? We always think we have so much control above situations, but yeah, it's also for the whole IPC experience, you'll never know who in the end your friends will be, who your lover will be.
No clue at first.
No.
No clue. About your song, what's it called again? Did you really know?
Yeah.
The last part I liked a lot, like the last 30 seconds. He showed me what he could actually do, because he stretched out the tennis ball noise, and it made it weird, and it made a really cool like echo sound at the end. So that interested me.
Yeah, you were really intrigued by the sound behind it.
I'm still intrigued.
This is also a song that I found on the radio. I thought I would bring something more random in here. Of course, we know all the important songs, and I think the audience also didn't know much about Geba before. So, yeah, it's interesting. I like listening to radio and finding random stuff sometimes.
That reminds me. There's a memory. Just like I would live with my grandma like years ago, like maybe 10 years or more, and then she would have like a radio, and then when I just couldn't sleep at night, we just plop on the radio and switch between channels and hear the most random ass stuff. And it would just be lovely, because next morning, if I wrote it down, I could actually listen to the artist and explore what is going on. But it's radio still good.
Sometimes you find gems there. And it's a bit like also with this raving experience, you never know what you're getting yourself into. You just go out there and then crazy things happen, and you're in a supermarket with a new haircut.
All of a sudden,
7 a.m.
pierced tattoos, new haircut, whatever.
Exactly. I hope you all enjoyed, and see you for the next episode of IPC Radio.
Music.
1, 2, 3.
Check. Out of here.
See ya.